It's UPBOptionMillionaires.com, Thursday, April 28, 2016, and this morning's dip, folks. This morning's dip brought to you by the Bank of Japan, the first to bring you 25 years of zero growth and stagflation. Hopefully the rest of the world is not following its footsteps, but we know all of these moves we see to the upside and the downside are based upon central bank action and or, as in the case of last night's move, inaction. You can see futures are starting to bounce off their lows. We were below yesterday's low when we had the Fed come out and say the obvious, we're not going to raise interest rates, and we had to move up the session highs before late in the trading session we pulled back, and then of course overnight collapsing. We'll see again if we can close this gap down as we've done in the past. Every dip since the lows in February of 2016, and of course the lows in March 2009, has been a great buying opportunity. This market does not seem to want to fall quite yet. You look at S&P 500 futures, still putting in resistance here at this 2100 level. I talked about this going back to last summer. 2100 is when the market pulled back in August 2015. We got back up to that 2100 level in November, consolidated a bit, and then we had the worst start to a year since the dinosaurs walked the earth, 2016. Nasty start. We're about to get into the Great Recession too, and then we had this miraculous move off the lows. The good U.S. dollar index also getting beaten down over this time frame. Headed into the start of December, we got up into triple digits and really beaten down ever since. You see the U.S. dollar index down almost 0.6% here this morning. What is not falling? Facebook. Got some calls late in the trading session yesterday, and you look, last earnings report, anybody remember this? We were in the mid-90s. We moved all the way up. It sounded like a forecaster in Florida. We're in the mid-90s, moving up, and now we're in Arizona weather here. We went up to 108, ultimately up to 116. That was in 3 trading sessions for Facebook, last earnings report. So, hey, why not? Let's do it again, Sam. And if you look this morning, we're up over the 121 level. Pretty significant move. The 115 calls were $1.16 yesterday, a couple hours before the closing bell. Those are going to be pretty nice. Actually, any kind of calls you bought on Facebook, pretty nice this morning. To state the obvious here. You look also earnings report. I got some First Solar puts. Actually coming up off its lows from yesterday's after the closing bell dropped to 55 and change. We'll see if we can get some movement to the downside. I'll show you a chart about that stock in a second. But let's look at the Boeing. This morning, an analyst coming out saying, yeah, in the near term, we're looking for a sharp move to the upside for Boeing. My goodness, the stock's up in 2 months from $105 to $137, up some 27% to the upside. I guess that's going to continue. Where were you at the lows? Analyst has a 196 price target. So sure, a lot of room to go to the upside. And you look long-term trend line support here, about 110 for Boeing. And if you draw a trend line across here, this rally should peter out at about the 142. So we got another $5 upside. You want to call that sharp, short-term move? $5. Let's look at First Solar, because this is the chart I was looking at heading into the earnings report. If you draw a trend line across here, it looks like we've topped, and we're going to pull back to the bottom of this channel, which would be in the mid-40s. For First Solar, that's what I'm looking for. It's Thursday. We've got a couple days left on those options. Apple got some puts in the earnings report the other night. Significant move to the downside. I brought up this trend line recently as a point of resistance. Also, momentum was starting to wane. And you look support here at about 94, 95 for Apple. So we got a couple more dollars to the downside to go. The $100 puts worked out great into earnings. How about Domino's Pizza? I talked about this 40 PE ratio for Domino's Pizza as it moved from a $10 stock. Look at this, folks. I mean, you want to look at Apple being one of those stocks that's moved significantly since the lows of March 2009. Look at Domino's Pizza. $5.28 at the lows in 2008, 2009. $5.28. Actually, no. Well, you go back to December 2008, $2.72. Recently went over $140. So a significant move to the upside. Obviously, the cardboard prefabricated pizza crust market has been booming. And that bubble is starting to biotech. How about the cardboard pizza market? My goodness. What a significant move to the upside for Domino's Pizza. And also you look at Papa John's. Although it's already started to pull back, you'd see Papa John's. The bubble already started to burst on that. Does that pizza even bubble? I don't think so. I mean, how do you get a bubble on a cardboard crust? But anyway, popping here for Papa John's. How ironic. Let's look at some other charts I think are going to pull back here in the short, medium term. How about Simon Property Group? Goldman Sachs just added to its conviction buy list. The Goldman Sachs conviction lie list. I mean, if you look at American Express, perfect example. Goldman Sachs says to sell. Conviction sell here on American Express at the lows in 2008, 2009. $6 price target. And then precisely up here says to buy. Hey, time to buy. I think it was actually right here. This candle right here, Goldman Sachs moves it from it's whatever it upgraded to a hold after saying to sell. Up here maybe said to hold all those shares that you already sold. And then up here, conviction buy, $102 price target. Yeah, has not seen the light of day, actually just off the lows here in February. But we go back to Simon Property Group, similar type action. Say, hey, conviction buy. Yeah, we've moved 400% to the upside. Now's the time to buy. Now's the time with interest rates ready to get lifted off. I don't know. But Simon Property Group, you can also look at Boston Property, the REITs. Hello, REITs! And Boston Property actually looks a little more vulnerable to the downside. Finally, we have earnings. The Amazon. It's right around the 600 level. Remember, last earnings report got it up near 700. Is it going to break to new all-time record highs? So we're going to see a plunge lower. Support here is about 50% lower. So this is going to be another one of those Facebook-type moves. We're going to see 10-15% move for Amazon. Remember, a lot of the earnings reports previously, before it really started to come up here into the 400 500s, we saw significant drops and then a recovery the next trading session. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see where Amazon heads. The options are pricing in a big move, meaning it's going to be expensive to trade for that move unless you're just going to outright go long or short the stock. Me personally, I think it's going to drop after earnings, and I think it's going to drop into the 550 to 525 range, which is a significant move to the downside. So I would get some options maybe at the 550 strike for the puts, and we'll see if we get that move to the downside for Amazon. All right, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. I'll see you in the chat room. Everyone have a great trading day. Goodbye.